Well, we got San Francisco heading to Green Bay. Um, I don't know. Just initial thoughts on this. I'll let you lead us in a little bit.
Jeez, I'm not feeling great about this game after the second half that San Fran, not even the second half, the fourth quarter that San Fran put up before this game just makes it seem like it's going to be a throttling by Green Bay. Just Aaron Rodgers has a lot of pent up aggression against San Fran for like everything. And he took it out on him once already this season, but I feel like he's got some more left in the tank. And especially if you're going to be wheeling out an injured Jimmy G to be playing QB, it could be a whooping.
Yeah, I mean, I want San Francisco to win this game so much more than I want Green Bay to, because and I'm just realizing this more and more often. I just want different. I just want different stuff, and you know, even though San Fran went to the Super Bowl once already, I mean, I I feel like Green Bay's thought to be the better team, so also like upset. That's more fun, but yeah. Anyways, analyzing this game a little bit, I would say that the first thing I really want to talk about again with the Packers is the fact that they still don't win games by enough that they should. Like they should beat teams like say think back to the regular season, like New England against Jacksonville, like that's like a 50-10 game. Um and and Green Bay will play these opponents close, lose to Detroit at the end of the season. Even though they're benching their guys in the second half, Detroit went in with a lead at halftime, correct? So that's kind of
Hmm.
concerning. Like, why is this happening? I still don't like that. So the nice thing about playing Green Bay, if you're the opposing team, is I don't believe they ever really pull away with games. They never really like completely shut the door. There was a point probably at the end of the third quarter in the Bills game last week, probably the Chiefs game as well, and the Bucks game, and half the games at least last week where the door was closed. Even though Green Bay is the one seed, I don't think Green Bay ever shuts the door on their opponent. So I believe that San Francisco will have a chance to win this game, and like a realistic chance to win this game until there's at least 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and maybe they have a two possession lead at that point. Um, that's good in San Francisco's favor. On the other hand, we still haven't watched these teams go against each other over the past few years, where they've both obviously not been missing some sort of key piece to their team, which I know we have injuries to the 49ers now, but it could end up being that all their guys play, and I wouldn't be surprised if all the guys just push through it like it's the playoffs. If we lose, we're out. Um, and and they all play. So I mean, with that being said, in those matchups over the past few years, San Fran has pulled it out every time. It feels a lot different having this be in Green Bay, but I think one of the keys in this is that this outside zone play action off of it, jet sweeps, end arounds, those types of things. Um, we probably need to lean heavier run as San Francisco. Not only because Jimmy G's injured, just because the weather makes it a little bit more challenging, being that it's colder outside. And I don't think we're going to write home about Jimmy G being one of the best quarterbacks in NFL history at this point. So I would say that it's important to say that weather can affect an average to maybe slightly above average QB.
Yeah, weather definitely can, but it's fortunate that the San Fran, I mean, at least in recent memory, has just ran over Green Bay.
Yes.
In every game that they played in, win or lose, they've just ran over Green Bay. And with weather, they could definitely do that. But Green Bay has two guys named Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon that can do the same thing. And they also have better quarterback play in Aaron Rodgers, which kind of just screws everything up. And it comes down to the defenses. And with the injuries that San Fran has had, not that, like you said, I think even if Nick Bosa is hurt, well, if he has a concussion, like he can't play.
Yes.
That's what his injury is. He has a concussion. Yeah, I
That's
think
my fault. That really is not up to him then.
yeah,
Nearly any other injury except that, you could make the
but
choice, but yeah, that's not his choice, so I'm sorry
he's
about that.
He's gone back to practice, so I'm pretty sure he's cleared protocol in order for that to happen. But other guys on that defense are going to be playing. I mean, not a lot of starters. Ambry Thomas and Jordan Willis are the two guys that have statuses both being questionable. Uh, I think that, I mean, Ambry Thomas is good. Jordan Willis, he's a rotational guy on that D line. So they do have all their guys. I think that they're just a step behind Green Bay's defense, though, with where it's at and where they've been playing. But again, Green Bay can never shut the door on teams. So it doesn't really matter how good you are if you keep leaving a crack of daylight for the other team to come back and win the game.
The other piece with that, us talking about them leaving the door open, never closing it, and more specifically, the run game is even if we have to have them run the ball, even a majority of their snaps, which they did a few years ago in the NFC Championship game and still managed to win it, and actually they barely threw the ball at all. That's especially strange with how good the weather was that day in that NFC Championship game. They were just like, hey, we don't need to. Why would we? So now we've got the new element here of having a weapon in Deebo Samuel that literally can be moved all over the field and redirect, and it really expands the run game so much that and with misdirection and things like that, and he may be the best ball carrier on the team, which I don't even think many people would argue. It's just funny that the receiver does that. With that, I feel like that makes the defense have to do so much different, even though I know that they won't be spreading them out as much because of how many times they are purely throwing the ball. I think that is a very important element to this team being able to have something else to give the defense different looks, even though they can't do it through passing the ball as much.
I got a question for you. Of the two studs that are on each team's offense, Deebo Samuel and Devontae Adams, which do you think draws, out of those two, who do you think draws more attention from a defense to have to follow them and take care of business?
Adams, because you're never, no matter who's running the ball, you're never like changing gap schemes in run defense, right? So end arounds, containing the edge, even if somehow he gets the ball on inside zone carries, outside zones, or even things with pulling guards and things like that. It really doesn't affect run fits, and I don't think that you play double coverage to him, worrying about catching a slant, because then you can still, even if you're playing like a normal cover 1, cover 2 look, say that's like man to man with one guy matched up on him, then you still have guys that can come up and make tackles that have their individual zones. So I don't think you worry about that. You just got to make sure that people help get to him underneath. Maybe the one thing is like if they're in a cover 1 and like you tell the linebackers, hey, like first guy to look for 19 on the offense coming across the middle, because he can make moves if he catches the ball. But I don't think you really double him. Whereas Devontae Adams, you just look at the route running ability purely. He can get so much separation on one guy, having just one guy straight across from him, that it's almost an obligation to put like two guys across from him, leveraging him different ways so that you can actually be able to stop him, at least on a somewhat consistent basis. And really, that isn't that often, even if you put two guys on him. What I will say in regards to this conversation that we really haven't talked about before is I think when teams double guys, they don't leverage them enough often. They'll like, if you've seen like the plays where it's literally like two guys out on an island with one receiver. Like say you look back at that like Megatron clip from the playoffs a long time ago against the Saints, and they literally just have two receivers lined up across for him. Or even more recently with what these guys actually have done, not the 49ers specifically, but opponents playing the Packers, straight up putting two guys across from Devontae Adams. I don't think they're working the leverage enough. I think that they could space them out differently to have better leverages to really limit the route tree options, but that's just me, and I doubt that they're going to do that in this game. If they do, I think that could be something that not only for this team, but just something in the future in terms of like looking out for what people do when they play against like the elite of elite receivers. I think that there's a lot that could be expanded on in the NFL in terms of playing leverages with defensive backs.
Yeah. Then that's going to be something that San Fran really needs to focus on. The scheming with how to combat Devontae Adams, but because they have the guys up front that can handle the run, just Joey Bosa and Fred Warner can really take care of that. The corner situation for them is what scares me the most because they don't really have like a true number one guy on that team that can really take care of the pass, or at least just Devontae Adams. They don't really have much going on in that secondary. Just a bunch of guys that I mean, their secondary resembles a lot of we're Bills fans, and it resembles a lot of like the Bills front seven. Their
That's true.
secondary of just like guys that like no one really knows the name of, but it's like they're consistently good and they work good as a unit.
Mm-hmm.
And uh, I don't know if that's going to be good enough to combat Devontae Adams.
Yeah, you're probably. I won't expect it to be, and it's just the funny thing. You talk about all the weapons that Green Bay seemingly has. Not even weapons, just guys on the team. Like offensive line, solid. Running back room, solid. Quarterback room, solid. I mean, receiver room, but you've still got arguably the best receiver in the league. Then the tight end room is one area where I say about a lot of teams. Tight end room is a team that a place a lot of teams can improve, but they've got vet presences there and they do enough. Especially when you have Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. On the defensive side of the ball, it's really hard to point to anything and say that there's a hole on this team. It seems like they literally have the entire defense filled in. So why this team that is so good lets everybody stick around I'm sorry, but just because that game is so clearly ingrained in my head now, the Cleveland Browns turning the ball over 4 times in a game and they're still only winning it by 2 points at the end. This is the thing that really makes me doubt the Green Bay Packers. I feel like they drew in terms and that's not necessarily true because I don't love the Rams going to Green Bay either, but I mean San Fran they're lucky here that they're getting a pretty busted up San Francisco team because I don't trust the Packers to go 3 weeks straight without having one of these games where the opponent is able to sneak back into it, take the lead in the end, and end up winning the game because they didn't pull away enough, even though their roster is something that should allow them to do that.
Yeah, I feel the same way that you do, where I just can't. I don't have enough positives to say about Green Bay's roster just looking at it because they're set all around. When healthy, which it seems that they're going to be, set all around. It's just they can't like really step on the throat of the team that they're playing against and finish it. They always have to let them get back in and keep these games close, and that's the one thing in the playoffs that you don't want at all because it kills you. You lose games, and it happened last
And
year.
you're out. This is why the Packers haven't won a Super Bowl since 2010. It's because you lose one game in the playoffs and you're out. If we played football like basketball, say, I mean, I realize that we couldn't do it like this, but if we were playing 7-game series, I think the Packers may have won like 5 Super Bowls over the past 10 years. Like seriously. But we're not playing 7-game series. You lose a game and you get eliminated. So it's like I don't trust them.
Yeah, and it's really really tough because you can argue against the issue that you and I are bringing up. This is it's like, ooh, they rattled off X amount of wins in a row during the season. It's like, yeah, Lions, Vikings, Bears.
The division is miserable, and they lost games to those opponents. Remember too?
Yeah, it's funny how like the Cowboys are just like a meme of the NFL, but like just get mean because they're in the NFCs. They have 6 guaranteed wins every year, but one of those other teams made the playoffs. The Packers have the Lions, Bears, and Vikings, and lose to the Vikings and the Lions.
Yep.
I'm still good. Like, you cannot count that Lions loss. Like
they were losing at the end of the first half.
That's what I'm saying. So
half
people
the game
can say, "Oh, you can't count that," but you should because they had their starters until half, and they were losing at half.
I don't know. You want to pick the game?
Yeah. So with all that, I'm gonna be picking San Fran in an upset here because Green Bay can't close the door, man. They just can't. And I mean, I would love to see it because if they do, then I mean, they're winning a Super Bowl. If they really turn it up these last 3 games that they have to play in and just like stomp out the team that they're playing against, which this is a good litmus test for that because with the way that the Niners are banged up as they are, stomp them out right
Yeah,
away.
no.
But if you let them hang around late third into the fourth quarter, ooh, it's I feel like whoever they play in the next round, whether that be the Bucks or the Rams, they're gonna lose.
You look at just the roster of each team, and let's just say in a perfect world, both teams are fully healthy. If they were playing this weekend and both teams were fully healthy and you had their rosters playing to their max potential. Their max potential, I'm saying. So that's a key point in this. I would say Green Bay should win the game by 7 points. You take into the fact that almost every key player for the San Francisco 49ers is either currently injured or was injured at some point during this season, so meaning they could still not be healthy, besides Deebo Samuel. Deebo's the only one who I don't think was. Green Bay should win this game by at least 17 points. I can guarantee that they won't. They will not win this game by that much. They should, based off the situation at hand, but they won't. And like I said, because it's, like I'm saying, in a 7-game series, I have no doubt that this team would be able to beat this team 4 times in 7 games. So, with that being said, I'm picking them because the majority of the time, I think the Packers are going to win this game. But I'm still going to very clearly state that I do not trust the Green Bay Packers at all. Y'all set?
Yeah, I think we could cut this here.